Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the art villa found somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest. And here I am again. Howdy, it's me, Manic Mark, coming to you from the bunker system located underneath the art villa found somewhere in the jungles of the Midwest. And I'm coming to you today with a stack of records so thin I kind of have to hold it at an angle so you can actually see that they're records, any records at all. That's right. Two videos into one video, compiling them down because I didn't have any. I had some records. In the other video, I'm going to be presenting records, but they weren't any good. But I'm not going to point those out because I'm going to intersperse them. You will. You'll know. You'll know. You know when I hold up a record and talk about it, it's not any good. Let me say it's not that it's not any good. It's just not good enough. There wasn't anything good enough to present a sample. The only place I go anymore is half-price, full-price books, or otherwise known as half-price, full-price, super high-priced books. The past couple of weeks I've gone there, I've seen records in a little locked bin where they just have a finger hole where you can kind of flip through the stack just by sticking your finger in, so you don't really get to touch anything. Two records over $600. One was a jazz album, one was marked as a super rare heavy metal record. I swear it said 1986 in a group called Emerald. Or that was the title. I assume it was the name of the band. I don't know. Anyway, that's an impossibly high, super high-priced, half-priced, full-priced record. It was 2 weeks ago. I don't remember what the hell I was doing. I think, though, I will probably chop out. In the other video, I talk about art. And it's a mistake to talk about art. So I might put a few little tidbits in there just so you go, what? Anyway, so what I did basically was I cleaned up the bunker. It was overwhelming. I couldn't get around. I couldn't see the tops of my workbenches, so forth and so on. So things had to go. Something had to go, and artwork that I worked on for 20 years went out the door. So there are lots of records, but of course there are because they raised the prices on everything to be full-priced. So people go in there looking for records like, well, I don't know, I'll wait on that one, see what happens. And they aren't cleaning out. Years ago they had someone that when they priced something too high and it didn't sell, a couple months later they would go through and clean out that bin and move that down into the reasonably priced, low-priced, half-price records. Alright, so we got to talk about something because there's only this many records. So today, there's just a few things. Today I did 2 yoga classes back to back. I've been working up to it in my mind. I've been mentally preparing myself because usually after you're done with it, it's like, you know, you kind of feel like you're relieved because they've set the classes up so there's like stretching and then there's the peak with the physical push-ups and crunches and stuff. There's names. There are yoga names for everything, but I'm still only know 2 or 3 of them. Down dog, everybody knows that one. Warrior 1, Warrior 2, I got that down. The cow, with the cow and the humpback thing. See, I don't. Now, I got all dramatic and burned it. And here's a photograph of art that's burning. There's some anyway. Never mind. Okay, so I made it. But the first class was like the woman teaching it. I thought, well, she's kind of worn out because the other woman, her daughter has a health issue. She's been in the hospital. That's sad. So the other woman's helping out. She's just been doing so many yoga classes, taking over for the other. There's more than one instructor. That she's practically lost her voice. I thought she's going to go easy, but she didn't. She went flat out. It was really super hard. So after that class, I'm like, I don't know, but there were 20 minutes, so I rested up. I'm just going to do it, see if I can make it through. And she was easier, a lot easier on that class perhaps than normal. So, and I don't think it was because me, Manic Mark, like looking like I was going to topple over, that she slowed down. My balance was a lot better in the second class, and I was just curious after all that stretching whether or not, you know, something like balance, which is really hard for me because I'm unbalanced. I was born that way. There you go, art burning up. I didn't do it to be dramatic, I just didn't want to put it out for the trash man, who probably would have taken it and decorated his living room with it. And I wouldn't have gotten no, then one day on eBay, it's like, hey, where did that come from? The trash man is like, aha, you shouldn't have put that out for me. Because in my spare time, I do eBay. I sell the things I find in people's trash. Anyway, that would never happen. They would have just thrown it in the back and crushed it. And that's okay, because when I was done with the Purge, which is what I'm calling it now, the Purge, I felt pretty damn good about it. Speaking of which, I thought I'd talk about art. But leading up to that, I have to talk about the bunker system. I spent days cleaning out the bunker system, the mess. You know, it's only just like highly full of stuff. But you can walk around now, and you can get around, and I've distributed things and records, but to make room, I had to throw out a lot of stuff, which includes artwork. And I made a display, a dramatic display, stuff that I literally 20 years. I dated it. It's 20 years old. It was no good when I started, and it was no good now. So I didn't get rid of everything, because some things I still think are good now, although I don't really care. I said all I needed to say with the art over the past 40 years, 45 years, no, 55, 6 years. Because I started all this back when I was like 6 or 7 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it was a long road to get to the end of the story. And here I am, display of burning artwork. And people are like, ah, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Well, I didn't want to set it out for the trash guy, you know. But that's another story. I have like tons of trash I put out this week. I'm like, oh, no, this is not going to be good. Trash guy's not going to like it. They're going to come and they're going to leave stuff. And they took everything, including one of my trash cans. And maybe I'll come back at it at another angle, but it's been 2 years and I don't know, man. I feel like it's just time to retire. So that's what I'm doing. I'm retiring, and people are like, oh, all the other people are like, oh, no, I got to go away and find something else to do now, and that's fine. Except for records. I don't know. Maybe records kind of, still kind of like them, but I had somebody. This is the weird. I'm not even going to go into it. I cut that out because I'm not going to go into it because that would be complaining. I'm not going to complain. What do you mean you're not going to complain? You built a whole career on it. I moved everything back to the other. Why am I lying? What's wrong here? Something's wrong, and I realized, well, there were 3, now there are 2 trash cans. One just disappeared, I think, with the trash guy. So maybe he wasn't happy. I'll show him. I'll show this guy throwing out all this trash. I'll take one of his cans away so he can't throw as much trash away next week. I don't know what's going to come out of this video. I don't have anything really I broke up furniture, painted furniture. Isn't it great? I broke that up, and I broke up sculpture and flat art. All the heavy wood pieces I got rid of, and I made room enough. I didn't throw away the Cold War sign. So anyway, back to art. So I cleaned this place out. I made a dramatic display of burning artwork, and I broke up furniture, this hand-painted furniture, 2 or 3 pieces of it, some sculpture that I've worked on for 20 years. I just could never get it right. It was always horrible. And then a stack of things that were sort of an experiment where I tried something, and I just never, you know, when you're doing it, there's something in your head and it will tell you it's not working, although you deny it and you continue to try to do the thing you're doing because it seemed like a good idea, but it's not, even though inside your mind and the back of your head, your little things saying, no, you're going to probably burn this in about 20 years. And sure enough, I did. Right there. And I don't know, I just can't, I couldn't. It was going into the dumpster and I saved it, which is probably one of my main mistakes, saving things. All right. What else did you throw away? Oh, let's see. Somebody threw a tire in my front yard. That's right. I went out and I found a tire, and I'm like, well, okay, geez, now, you know, it's somebody else's problem, mine now. I thought, well, I'll wait till dark and I'll just roll it across the street into the neighbor's yard. Across the street? No, I'm not going to do that. And it used to be they would come and pick them up. You'd put them out because they were like, people were throwing tires all over the place because you had to pay to get rid of them. But apparently it cost a lot of money, again, once again, to get rid of tires, and now the county's charging $5 a tire to get rid of them. Why? And because, that's why the tire is in my front yard, because the people that threw there know they didn't want to pay the $5. So let make somebody else pay the $5. So now I got to figure out a way. I tried to cut it up. You can't cut a tire up. Maybe if you had like a giant, but I don't. I just have the regular. Couldn't cut it up because I thought I'd give it to the. So people were horrified, but there's nothing to worry about. Well, people like project like the worst. What do you know? Something's wrong. There isn't anything wrong. Actually, everything's just peachy keen. I mean. It's an interesting, I've thought about the process for a long time, and I've been doing art since I was a kid. My whole life, I made a living at it, so to speak. Not with the crazy stuff I do here. That was just to get it out of my system. I didn't know if I would get it out of my system, but apparently I did. Why? Because I'm done with it. How can you be done with it? It's your identity. That's the interesting thing. As human beings, to feel important, we create or latch onto or infuse stuff that gives us an identity. So we feel like we're worth something, I think, or we're doing something. We're so that was my time to make that art, to feel as though I'd finally gotten through all the commercial stuff and the jobs and all that, and I finally got to the point where I was doing what I wanted to do, to make the statement that I wanted to do. I did it for 3 or 4 years, and I made the statement, and there's no more left to the story. Something in it that you didn't like? Man, I wonder, there was a big giant block of wax that I got from a foundry that makes bronze. God, it'll kill me if you hear me say brass. Jesus, it's an alloy. I think there's brass in it, but bronze sculptures, and there's wax in the process, and there's these big plugs which are waste. And I was making these things that I could start my fires in the winter, to keep the house warm with this wax and cardboard and stuff. It's complicated, so I won't go into it. But I decided to get rid of that. Okay. Because I bought some commercial ones. They're made out of paraffin. This wax is a little bit too hard, but in the sun outside while I waited for the trash guy to come, it got a little bit melty because it was so hot. So I wonder if that got in there and he didn't think it could, or he was throwing it around, or something happened. It was weird. Something weird happened. I wasn't around. I have no proof for any of it. All right, that's all it is. I haven't gone and thrown away the paint yet. I can't bring myself to pack that up and throw it away, because somewhere maybe there's a little, maybe don't, and it's like $3 or $4 a bottle. Who wants to give it? I don't know, but it's been 2 years. I've done one painting and it's over. That one painting I tried, it was kind of fun. Now, let's talk about the process of painting for me. And I was thinking, like, well, people that just paint landscapes and do stuff, it's just like, for them it's relaxation probably, but it was never that way for me. Creating art was never relaxing. It was an experiment and an investigation, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I fretted over it, and I had something to say, and it was an emotional thing, and I got it all down, and then at the end of it all, that process felt good, but at the end it was left with frustration. Okay, and time, I didn't feel it was wasted, but I used up time I could have been like exercising or taking care of the house or doing things that I needed to be doing, okay, was invested in the art. And it had to be, okay, it had to be, because I had to get it done with it, So it's this, why am I even talking about all this? So I was mowing the lawn the next week, and the trash guy was right there. It just happened. I thought, well, I could just stop and turn off the mower and say, hey, come here a minute, buddy. I got a question to ask you. What the hell did you do with my damn trash can? But yeah, they work hard. It doesn't matter. They were wearing that anyway. I'll just get another one. Okay. There you go. There's too much anger in the world. I'm just going to say that. There's a lot of frustration and anger. And as I get older, it amazes me that that somehow we managed to survive another year. When a year passes, I'm like, wow, that was amazing. It used to be like, I survived another year. That was amazing. But now it's not like that. Now it's like the whole human race, I'm surprised, is still here. So so I did the trade-off all those years for art, and I did some really good things, I didn't throw away. Let's go back to the burning. I just burned the experiments and the things that I never really liked, just to make room. Like, and I can still look at the stuff that I did do, they still have, and I can see art value in it. I'm like the design and all of just the basic construction things in the piece, divorced from any kind of emotional attachment, and just look at it and say, well, that's, as a visual thing, interesting, beyond concept or any of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you go to an art museum and you don't know why the art is painted anything, you're looking at it and you like it or you don't, right? You're responding to the visual qualities, not the emotional, or probably mostly the concept behind it, any of it, right? Year after year, wow. Okay, let's go right to the records, right? Okay, I'm holding up this one. It's the Great, what is it? The Greatest for Dancing Volume 1. George Evans, I don't know, on London, it was just a nice cover. I picked it up. This is going to be the most intense video ever, I just know it. I just know it. I think I'll probably post it too. And of course I did, because you're looking at it right now. Should we go into the records? They're not very many. Did I mention that? Start with the gospel album. The Wright record, I found another Wright. Don't find very many gospel albums anymore, unless I'm rebuying all the records they've taken half price, full price, super high price books, my own, back again. Another obscure, I don't know who he is. I don't know, so I picked it up. Concertos, did I mispronounce that? Probably, from Hollywood. Pianoist, that's wrong too. Never mind, okay, go on. A Jackie Gleason album. I thought I had all of them, but apparently I don't, because I don't remember this cover. The Gentle Touch, all his records are pretty much gentle. That's Sid Raymond, RCA Victor. It's an interesting RCA Victor. What the hell was the blue RCA Victor logo up there? When did they use that? I don't recall that I've ever seen, or I don't recall. I mean, anyway, look at this. Sid Raymond, never seen a picture of him. And on the back of this album, there's a photograph of Sid. See, you can make popular music back in the mid-50s, 1959, late 50s, and you can look like Sid Raymond and nobody cared. You know, it's like, we don't care what you look like. You don't have to look like a superstar with a bubble butt. You can look like this guy and make popular music. This is a terrific cover. These guys, you guys, it's great. It's another Wright record, how about that? All right, so he's made other stuff I like, and I don't know if this is going to be any good, but we're going to give it a shot. I may already have this one, but I don't know. It was like, in this case, was it $1? I don't know. So I picked it up. It's like, oh, we need a groovy cover. How are you going to do that? Well, we're going to take a photograph of a model, attractive model. I think I may have had this one, and not this one. We're going to take a photograph of an attractive model and put all these circles on top of her, so you kind of get the psychedelic feel to the whole deal. And last but not least, for $1, hard to believe they didn't put this up in the high price, just because, hey, look at the title. What is that? Is it a comedy album? No, I've got one of these albums from these guys. Hot Nuts, Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts. Panty raid. Oh, look, I'm up here in the college dorm throwing panties down to you guys. It was so much fun. I think we were the college party band. And I think I've had an album by this one before. Didn't care for it. I hope it wasn't this one. But I think she's kind of like a Broadway diva. Alright? But it was a fun cover, so I picked it up. Baby, Let Me Bang Your Box. You know, like, suggestive. I'll probably share a sample, just because you're gonna demand it. think she's French. I don't know. I just... Jubilee. I don't remember. I don't recall. Last but not least, it's the Claude Gordon Orchestra on an early Liberty. It's jazz for teenagers. That's right. If you take teenagers and put them in jeans, you can call them teenagers, or you would call them teenagers if you were Claude Gordon. You're going to demand, let me hear the Panty Raid album. I demand it. Okay. That's right. That's the end of it. I have it cleaned. There's so many things. It just looks basically the same except organized and cleaned up, and a lot of artwork was burned. Could be some fun stuff on here. Anyway, the record store I went to was the real record store. It wasn't a whole lot of money compared to everything else they sell, which is pretty high priced. But maybe not as high priced as high price, half price, full price books. There, see, you went right back to that. And you should have left that one well enough alone. You wore that out in the last video. Now I'm beginning to remember what I did 2 weeks ago when I made that video. Okay, let's listen to the musical sample.